It's feeling like a good time to get out for a walk here at Goliad State Park in Texas. As you can see, the skies are getting clear. Have been for a little. I'm pointing at the sky, and yet it's recording me. So the skies have cleared, and it's still early November. It's still early February, and we've just gotten past the ice storms that hit Texas and a number of other states down here in the southern areas of the country, and I'm sure that you all have heard about those. It's, passing 60 degrees this afternoon here in Goliad, so it's really, feeling so much better. It was a good 4-day stretch in there of just temperatures down near the freezing mark. Here at Goliad, it was not as cold as it was a little bit further north. I know that the San Antonio and Austin and Dallas-Fort Worth areas got hit very hard with the ice. And here we got rain, but it was light and intermittent. It didn't really cause much in the way of problems in terms of being too wet or whatever. Although I did come out here at one point after it had rained, maybe the first round of rain, and it hadn't gotten quite as cold yet. But as you can see, the tracks, the tire tracks through the dirt here, that was actually quite muddy. And this is a bit of a hill right here. You can't really tell it on the video, I don't think. Videos, for whatever reason, don't really show elevation all that much. I'll turn around when I get down to the bottom and maybe you'll see it then. But that was quite slippery and very muddy, so I had to walk to the side and be really careful. So yeah, it's a bit of a hill. I don't know if you can see that all that well here. Yeah, it's been muddy a little bit, but it's not been horrible here. Not like it has been a little further north. Anyway, the topic of this video today is really about campsite etiquette. And I didn't think that I'd have to make a video like this or have any sort of a conversation about campsite etiquette this soon. I mean, I started this nomadic journey in November, on November 11th, and so it's been November, December, January, February, so about 3 months, and for the most part, the people that I have met have been just awesome. And I've really enjoyed meeting people at the state park. I've been hanging mostly in Texas state parks because it's really convenient. You get electric and water, and you can stay for pretty good lengths of time if you need to, and the weather kind of dictates that you want to. And yeah, it's just a pretty nice way to work through the winter months and weeks, depending on what the weather is doing. I really wanted to head a little bit more west towards New Mexico and Arizona, but it's been pretty cold out there and windy and rainy recently, and so Texas, the south of Texas has actually been a really good alternative for me. So really enjoying being here in Texas for the winter. But something happened yesterday that I think bears a little bit of discussion. So today is Saturday, and so of course yesterday was Friday, and in the state parks on Friday afternoon, you can definitely find yourself in a situation where the park is going from mostly empty. It's the winter months. My understanding is that in the summer, the parks are quite full most of the time, and so if you want to, visit a Texas state park, you probably should get your reservations in as early as you can, and during the summer months. Here in the winter, it's apparently not quite as intense. And so you've got a little bit of latitude. You don't have to so tightly schedule your visits. But anyway, on Fridays, yes, so you're going to see an influx of new campers as they arrive for the weekend. And yesterday was a day when we were just starting to come out of the cold from the ice storms. And so I had been doing a little bit of cooking in Joy and was having lunch. And at the same time, there was a couple arriving and setting up camp in the slots next to me. Now, and before I continue this story, I just want to show you where I've come upon the San Antonio River. This is just a great little landing here. If you're paddling the river, this is a exit point if you wanted to hop off here at the state park. I'm not going to go down there. That was my mistake the last time that I tried this, is that whole area, it's just dirt, and it was just nothing but mud. They put like some sort of a mesh in there to try and maybe add some additional traction or something, but wow, it was muddy. And I didn't really realize that I was picking up that much mud on the bottom of my shoes until I got down onto the dock there. Who knows, maybe some of the mud you're seeing there is actually from my last coming here, but I'm staying up. There's the bank on the across the path here, and there's the bank that I'm standing on right now, and so I'm just going to stay up here. And but yeah, there's the San Antonio River coming through. It's a very tranquil river. A little murky and greenish, at least in today's light, but it's really cool that they provided this landing for people who are paddling or just want to come down here and just kind of take a look. It is beautiful. Okay, so back to the story at hand. So it's Friday, some new campers are settling in next to me, and I had been cooking. So, and this is going to sound really kind of whacked out, maybe, I don't know. I had been at Walmart the day before and had found something that I thought, oh, that looks actually kind of yummy, so maybe I'll go ahead and get that. It was a turkey drumstick, a smoked turkey drumstick, and it was just vacuum packed, and so I thought, geez, that'll actually keep for a little while too. I don't necessarily have to freeze it or whatever, at least not right away. Turns out I ate it almost right away, so it didn't matter. But I picked that up, and that's actually what I had reheated and was enjoying for dinner. Now, I had also had the TV on, and I was watching some YouTube videos. And I don't know. This is questionable, But suddenly there was a rap on the side of Joy. And I could see I had the door cracked barely open because, again, we were just coming out of the cold. It was getting a little bit warmer, and I had been cooking in Joy, and so there was a little bit of higher temperature in there, and I thought, I could just go ahead and open the door a crack and let it bleed off some of this excess heat. And so anyway, I got this wrap on the side of Joy, and I'm like, I'm unavailable. I don't know what I could say, because here I am with this turkey drumstick in my hand, right? My hands are like greasy from, holding this drumstick, because you can't really, how a turkey drumstick is. They have all these ligaments and bones and weird stuff in them. It's just, they're weird, right? It was almost like, as I was buying it, I was thinking, do I really want to buy this? Knowing what's in store, as I try to, consume this thing, but I did it anyway. And it was actually really good, because it was smoked, and it tasted really good. But my hand is all greasy, and there wasn't anything that I could do in order to, open the door and say hello. Could I get with you in a few moments? I'm enjoying my lunch. Instead, I just had to kind of like yell back. Not even really yell, but just sort of, kind of to get through the door, right? The crack in the door, that, hey, I'm not available. And I got this reply that said, would you turn that down? I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't help you right now. And then I got, another rap on the door immediately. Hey, would you turn that down? I'm like, okay, I'm thinking to myself, I'm not going to continue to have, some sort of a discussion with somebody who's, I don't know, off on some tangent here, outside and wanting me to turn on the volume. I guess they're my mother, whatever. And so I just continued to say, I'm sorry, I can't help you right now. And so I finished the turkey drum. They had eventually just wandered off. And went about cleaning up after the fun of eating a rather greasy and very hands-on lunch. And then went over next door and just knocked on their door and said, hey, I apologize if that I couldn't just, respond to you right away. I told them, it must have sounded like I was a complete lunatic. I was like, I was stick at the time, and my hands were all greasy, and there wasn't anything I could do to really respond to your requests. And so we had a very short discussion. And it was the guy that I was speaking to, not his partner, wife, don't know, traveling companion, who was originally the person that was telling me to turn it down. But he was like, it was pretty loud. I'm like, yeah, I don't think it was really all that loud. But I said, I will concede that when you're watching YouTube videos, one of the things that happens is that one video is at a particular volume, and the next video could be quieter or could be louder. It's hard to tell which way that's going to go. And, are you just going to automatically reach for the, volume control and try to always maintain that perfect volume level? No, you're really not. So it was what it was. It may have been a little bit loud. I'm not going to say that it wasn't. Nevertheless, we were not in the park's quiet hours. Now, what about this? This is an interesting point out that I'm now crossing under the highway on the path. Still a little mud hole right there from the recent rains and the storm that came through, but kind of a cool little place. But so it is what it is. And so what about the behavior of these folks as they arrived and set up and whatnot? Well, they have a dog, and the dog was barking. Not much. I'm not going to say that it's an obnoxious dog and that it's being a nuisance. It was not. And I love dogs, and so if you're a dog owner, I'm not down on dogs. So you don't have to worry about that. I love dogs. Dogs seem to love me, so we're all good with that. The dog was barking though, so okay, so there's that. They came in with pulling a RV that they backed in to this slot right next to me. Now at Goliad State Park, it's a weird situation where it's basically just a big parking lot. To be quite honest with you, that's really what it is. It's a big square parking lot. And along the north border of the parking lot and the south border of the parking lot, there are slots, nice long slots. So if you got a Class A or something like that and you're really long, you'll have a place to park. And you get 2 spots. So I happen to be in spot number 42. And so I have 2 spots that are both labeled 42. And these folks came into 41, I think, probably is the number. And they parked in they backed their RV into the slot that is directly next to mine. Now, since I'm just one vehicle, now they had a tow vehicle and they had their regular vehicle, right? So they pulled in the RV in the slot immediately next to mine, and then they parked their tow vehicle in the one next to that. That's fine. That's obviously what's going to happen. And I'm going to shut off the recording as we're coming up on a day use picnic area, and I'm going to have to walk right on by those folks, and I won't keep talking about this for them to overhear the conversation. I'll be back with you in a moment. And we're on the opposite side of the day use area now. While I was at it, I took off the hoodie that I was wearing because I'm like, wow, it's actually quite warm. My app told me that it was like 60 degrees outside, and I thought, well, that might be a little chill, I'm not sure. So I figured I'd go ahead and wear the hoodie, but no, it feels quite warm out here. I don't need that. Where was I? Let's see, where was I? Okay, so they had pulled in and they had put their RV right next to mine, right in the slot right next to mine. They had slide outs on their towable, and so they put the slide out. Later I came to realize that, yeah, that slide out is actually extending out over into the space that I've rented. And of course there are storage compartments and whatnot in the slide out. So the guy's over there clearly in my space, opening up his storage areas and rummaging around and doing this, that, and the other thing. So, now, do I mind? And the answer is absolutely not. I certainly do not mind. I'm probably not the most agreeable person you'll ever know. That would be a real long shot. But, I love being around people and meeting them and just having conversations about where they've been and what they're doing. That's one of the things that I think is kind of special about this whole nomadic lifestyle. And that's also a little bit, odd for me, because I do identify as an introvert, but I would consider myself to be an extroverted introvert. I know that many of you out there who also identify as introverts would understand that. I got a tent coming up here, so I'm going to stop recording for a moment. So I guess what I'm really getting to in the end is that I think that it's really important to be kind to your neighbors and maybe not just go jumping down their throat the second that you see them. If they tell you they're not available at a particular moment in time, there's probably a good reason for that. And, you know, it's not like I didn't go over and chat with them later. Ironically, they too are from Wisconsin, where I'm from. I didn't really feel that they were representing the state particularly well in this instance. I think they could have maybe just kind of see where the situation was going to go. Whether or not the volume on my TV as I was watching a YouTube video while eating lunch was a little too loud, and I really couldn't mess around with the remote control to try and adjust the volume because my hands were greasy. You know, I don't know. That's a transient event that will probably go away. So does it make sense to alienate your neighbors in a campsite by jumping down their throats about how, oh, you're just being too loud. That's too loud. Turn that down. No. And, you know, I've heard other people with music playing and whatnot. I don't care. Okay, it is what it is. I can always put in a pair of earbuds, or I could turn on some music of my own, as long as I'm not, trying to engage in a music war with somebody. I think that's fine. I have a right to listen to what I'd like to listen to, and I don't necessarily want to listen to what somebody else is listening to. But I'm not going to get militant about it, right? I'm not going to, turn into a Karen or a Carl and go after somebody about it, especially not when I've just pulled in and haven't even introduced myself yet. So that's my little thing on campsite etiquette. Be kind to your neighbors and enjoy them before you destroy them, right? And if you can avoid it, and probably 99.9999999% of the time, you don't have to destroy them at all, because they're great people. And that's how this whole, nomad RV, campsite, state park, BLM thing works, is that everybody are really good people. I mean, at least that would be the assumption going in. You may find that that's not true. But does it make sense to immediately assume the worst in people? No, I don't believe so. Anyway, thanks for listening to my rant. I don't know if it was much of a rant or whatever, but it is what it is. I am really enjoying the walk here today on this Saturday. We're now probably before 1 p.m. But wow, it is so nice to see the blue sky, a few puffy clouds, but just this beautiful scenery. And the grass is so green. I mean, I'm looking at it in the viewfinder here, on my phone screen. And it looks every bit as green in real life as it does on my phone's screen. I'm just hoping that, when I get this video off into the computer, that it looks every bit as green as this, because this is just really beautiful. I love the colors of green and blue. They're my favorite colors. Green, blue, and yellow. The color of the sun, the sky, and the grass. Those are my favorite colors. The river is out there somewhere. I could probably walk out that direction and see it. I can barely see it out there. Well, if you can, I'm holding the selfie stick way up high, so I don't know. Anyway, we're coming up on another one of the day use areas, and I think it's close to the park headquarters. So I'll probably turn it off here for a minute, and if there are other campers around or day users, is that a word? And I see someone over there. And maybe we'll go up by the